Has begun, and we are going to begin with an invocation from Kathleen Crone.
We bless our city. We bless our city with all that heaven has to offer. We thank you, Lord, for peaceful deliberations tonight. We thank you that we are doing the best, and with your help, doing the best for our city. So we thank you, Lord, that with your guidance and direction, we will be successful. Amen.
Amen. And now if you will all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We are going to begin with a presentation from our city manager, and he is going to be recognizing some of our employees. So,
great. Thank you, Council President. If I could please have Julie Hall, Michael Zacchino, and Dana Pierce please come up here. Right there is just fine. Yep. So, the City of Grants Pass, values a number of items, and we have a recognition program within the city that helps build culture. And we call it the IVALUE program, and it's on the back wall. It's throughout the city. IVALUE actually stands for something. Each word stands for something. I means integrity, accountability, leadership. United in excellence. And when employees and my colleagues exemplify some of those values, we try to recognize that. And recently we had a small little program called Art Along the Road. You may have recognized that, and some of you may have had an opportunity to go down and celebrate with the community. The Art Along the Road was probably the best one we've had all year. And that was primarily due to the three individuals here that I've brought in front of you today to recognize. As you may be aware, we had at the beginning stages of planning for Art Along the Road, we had some transition in our economic development department. And that transition was the loss of an individual who was the primary responsible party for putting the three events that we run throughout the year. So there was a large gap in our ability to continue to do that service. However, we had three individuals, those that are behind me, that stepped up and spent countless extra hours making sure that Art Along the Road was going to be the best it could be, and it definitely turned out to be that this year. We had record numbers of people and vendors. The comments from vendors were amazing. The artwork was great, but the leadership of Dana and all the hard work of Mike and Julie made Art Along the Road happen this year. And with that, I just wanted to make sure that they got recognition from the community and from me. I will be providing them with an IVALUE card, just like I mentioned in our program. They also get a free cup of coffee with the IVALUE card. And then at the end of the year, we try to celebrate all of our colleagues that did get an IVALUE card throughout the year and recognize the services that they provide. So I want to thank all three of you for all the effort that you did and the impact that you had in our community and the way that the families were able to celebrate the kids and adults on Art Along the Road. So thank you very much.
Okay, they get you my picture.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the council, I would also like to add that we appreciate you three so much and the value that you add to our city. So thank you very much.
Well, I just want to say it was the best one that my wife and I have ever gone to, and my wife is a much better judge of these things than I am, and The only thing I regret is not sitting beside Mike for about a half an hour and just enjoying the ambiance.
Yeah, just thank you for everything each one of you does. I mean, Dan, obviously we work together a lot. Mike, you're kind of behind the scenes, but I know how much you do, and Julie waves at me every time I come to the office, so thanks for everyone. You guys did a great job on Art Along the Road.
Now I feel pressured to talk. Just ditto, great job. We appreciate all you all do, and it's great that you would get this recognition.
Yeah, I go to Art Along the Road every year. It's one of my favorite events, and I thought it too was the best this year with all the booths and extensions. That was great.
My wife and I entered the tour of Art Along the Road and all the art exhibits and the people there. It was really neat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your help.
Okay, thanks again, and I neglected to take roll, so Councilor Schlogel,
Here.
Crow,
Here.
Riker,
Here.
Nicholas,
Here?
Benham, and King. Here. And so we have a quorum, and up first on our agenda tonight is a resolution designating the giant sequoia at the Grants Pass Water Treatment Center plant as a heritage tree, and we have presentation.
Good evening, Council. Josh Hopkins, Park Superintendent. We're here to do the public hearing for the Heritage Tree nomination. It's at 821 Southeast M Street, Water Treatment Plant. Review subject and summary for the review of September 8th, 2025 recommendation from the Urban Tree Advisory Committee to designate the giant sequoia located at 821 Southeast M Street on the water treatment plant, which is public property. This is in relationship to council goal of infrastructure for providing high quality accessible parks and attractive public spaces that enhance community well-being, encourage economic vitality, and reflect the city's unique character. So for a little bit of background on the actual heritage tree process, the nomination process is in the Grants Pass Municipal Code, Chapter 10.2. And any tree within the city limits can be nominated, whether it's private or public. For trees on private property, nominations move forward only if the private property owner consents, and a narrative of the applicant must include why it's being nominated, what's so significant about this tree. Oftentimes we get stories about trees that were planted back in the 50s to early 30s type of a thing from the applicants when they're doing this process. The applicant must explain how the tree qualifies. The tree must be of significant community benefit due to its size, age, species, horticultural quality, or historic value, and it also must be healthy, structurally sound, and non-hazardous. More about that background, when a private property owner does do a public or a heritage tree process, they also have to sign a covenant that gets deeded with the title of the property saying that it's a heritage tree, and that follows in future sales and stuff. But this is a public tree. We don't have to do that for this one. So for this process, the Urban Tree Advisory Committee reviews the nominations along with a staff report on the tree. The staff report is in your packet information. The committee decides if they wish to recommend the tree to council for designation. And in this case, the Urban Tree Advisory Committee recommended council approve this nomination at the September 8th, 2025 meeting. Council then reviews the committee recommendation, considers any testimony from interested parties, that's why it's a public hearing, and then you may designate it as a heritage tree through council resolution. With the heritage tree, it does come with additional protections that other trees don't necessarily get. These are outlined in Grants Pass Municipal Code, Chapter 10.02060. Some of those examples include filling or piling materials within the drip line of the tree, and there's an illustration showing what a tree drip line is. Post signage or devices to the tree, not putting nails and signs in the tree. We're not allowed to top the tree, pruning the tree without a permit, and then no pruning of branches under 3 inches in diameter or over 10 feet above ground without a permit, and then removal of the tree without a permit or excavation within the tree's drip line. The code does allow for most of this activity to occur if there's a permit in place and after it's been inspected by an arborist, and we've deemed that, yes, the only way for some sort of issue to be taken care of is if these things were done with this tree. For this tree, the giant sequoia is on the water treatment plant property. It was nominated by the Urban Tree Advisory Committee. The city manager, public works director, and utility superintendent are supportive of this nomination. Prior to even bringing this to the UTAC, staff does its due diligence as a part of the staff report, and we reached out to people that could be impacted by this. This actually is the second tree that would be designated at the water treatment plant. In 2021, a large cork oak was designated as well. This is a very large giant sequoia. It's about 120 feet tall, 95 inches in diameter at breast height. With that, we had a 20-inch diameter tape, and we maxed it out and had to do it twice to get the diameter of this tree. It's that big. It is approximate critical root zone is about 95 feet. Its age is estimated to be around 100 years old. Through our aerial photography, it looks like in the 1930s photos, you can see this tree. You can clearly see it's there in the 1950s. It's possible it was there when the water treatment plant was originally put in, because as you look at the photos moving forward, you can see that the landscape and the driveway is completely shaped around how this tree was in its location. Here's just a few of the site photos of this tree. Again, it's kind of everything you want out of a giant sequoia. Great symmetrical tree with plenty of shade and everything it's doing for the streets in the general area. As far as the site photos, this is an illustration of the drip line. Current conditions do show that we do currently have a roadway with a drive line and stuff like that. We're aware of this, but it's kind of a pre-existing condition for this type of application, and it's not something we expect is largely impacting this tree as it's continued to grow. Heritage trees are required for the cost implications to receive a plaque at the location of the tree or near it, and it's about $300 for that. So call to actions at council's discretion. You have some alternatives to move to approve the resolution designating the giant sequoia located at 821 Southeast M Street as a heritage tree. You can deny the proposed heritage tree designation, or if you need more information, move it to a council workshop, and a potential motion is there.
All right, thank you. Do I have questions? Indra?
So that tree's been there a long time. Why are we just now designating it heritage? Is
So
there a
we've been-
reason for now?
Yeah, basically we've been doing heritage trees for maybe about 5 years now, and we have a handful throughout the community. And, you know, they just take time. At this point, the Urban Tree Advisory Committee started talking about doing another heritage tree designation, and this tree popped out as something people may be interested in designating, but it's just coincidental.
Well, it's a beautiful tree, and I would like to make a motion to designate it as a heritage tree.
Oh, we
can
have to
we?
have public comment first. It's okay, it's okay. Other questions from council? All right, I would like to open it up to the audience. If anybody has any comments about this issue on the agenda? And seeing as though there are none, we'll open it up for motions or discussion and/or motions.
I will make the motion to designate this tree a heritage tree.
And I have a second. All right, and so we'll take a roll call. Councilor Schlogel?
Yes.
Councilor Crowe?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Riker?
Yes.
Nicholas?
Yes,
Benham?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. All right, the motion passes. Next up on our council agenda are action items A through, is it A through, I believe, J, A through J, and we have a presentation from staff.
All right, good evening, Council. My name is Wade Elliott. I am the Assistant Public Works Director, and today I'm doing a presentation on the right-of-way sales to ODOT for the Jackson and Josephine County ADA ramp upgrade, and this is Phase 3 of the project. So a little bit of background on this project. The city has been in discussions with ODOT to sell small portions of city-owned right-of-way for quite a while now for the final project of the ADA project throughout southern Oregon. In this particular batch, which should be the last one, there are 10 city-owned properties that are impacted by the project and will require some combination of purchase of the actual property, permanent easements, or temporary easements to allow for the construction. The properties all have some form of improvements on them that'll be damaged in some way, and that is included in the appraised value associated with those for the city to remove, replace, or repair whatever is damaged during construction. Some more background, ODOT lost a lawsuit related to ADA ramp construction on state highways and are under a settlement agreement to replace every ADA ramp within the state. And that's just under 26,000 ADA ramps, and they are on schedule to complete that by 2032. It's a huge task. And I'm sure you've seen some of them as you're driving out through eastern Oregon and Bly, Oregon, and there's new ADA ramps out there. Well, it's a result of this lawsuit. So this is the third and final phase of the project that's going to be completed in Grants Pass. There have been two before this that already put in ADA ramps along 6th Street and Rogue River Highway, and we'll get into those a little bit. And part of this is that ODOT must comply with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 as amended together. The cooperative project history between the City of Grants Pass and the ODOT is generally as follows for this project. In May of 2020, City Council passed a resolution which authorized the city to sell 176 square feet of property at 6th and Morgan for ADA improvements associated with the ODOT Grants Pass signal and pedestrian upgrade project. August 2020, City Council passed a resolution which authorized the execution of an intergovernmental agreement for Phase 1 of the project, which was on Rogue River Highway. And generally it said that the city will allow ODOT to construct facilities on their right-of-way as part of the project. As you can envision, the cross streets, the right-of-way is city, and then it meets up to ODOT right-of-way, and at times the ADA ramp or pedestrian facility spills over onto the city property. So that's why that language is in the agreements. And of course, the state agreed to bear the cost of the expenses of the ADA upgrades, which makes sense because it's their facility. In July of 2021, Council passed another agreement to authorize the city manager to execute another agreement with ODOT. This agreement was for Phase 2, which is what you saw most of the ADA ramps on 6th and 7th Street, and it was kind of the same in nature. In June of 2025, so 6 months ago, this City Council passed a resolution, number 25-7574, which authorized the city to enter into an agreement for this project that we're talking about today. In that agreement, it said that the city would allow ODOT to make the ADA improvements on the city right-of-way as well as on theirs, same as the other agreements. It also said the city agreed to allow the state to acquire all right-of-way needed for the construction project, and that the city or the state agreed to conduct all right-of-way activities in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisitions Policy of 1970. So that's a lot to say. That's the federal process for right-of-way acquisition. Same thing that we needed to follow on Allen Creek Road, and there's a lot involved with it. In general, every property that is acquired gets an appraisal done on it. The appraisal is also vetted by a secondary appraiser that's licensed in the state of Oregon to make sure that it's okay. There are offers sent out, general information notices. It's all very well spelled out within that agreement. Oh, and the reason I brought that up, this was the first time that we saw that language in the contract, but the other phases, they only needed to acquire right-of-way from 6th and Morgan, like I mentioned earlier, and the other ones were all done within ODOT's right-of-way. Existing right-of-way. A few definitions to go over as we go through it. Fee acquisition is the actual payment for the purchase of a portion of property. So it might be 9 square feet at the corner of one of the properties. That's the actual transfer of the deed of title of that property to the state. A permanent easement is a easement that is permanent in nature that allows ODOT to go in there and do maintenance on the facility, whether it's to take care of the slope on the back of the ADA ramp, or sometimes there's a traffic signal there, or whatever the case may be. ODOT has a permanent easement to go in there and do maintenance. Temporary easement is something that expires after 3 years or when the project is finished, whichever one comes first, and it allows construction activities to occur in that location. So the contractor, state and contractor would be able to use whatever is purchased as a temporary easement during construction, and then they restore it reasonably well, but they've also compensated the property for restoration. And then improvements, damages, and cost to cure payment for the city, and that would be to relocate infrastructure before and or after construction. Typical examples of this is there's almost always a irrigation sprinkler head at the corner by the ADA ramps, because that's where you put the, so anyways, sprinklers get damaged a lot, irrigation does. If you can envision City Hall, there's some decorative rocks and a sign there. Those are all part of what is in the compensation package, if it's impacted. All right, on to the good stuff. So this map shows the properties that are actually impacted and as are part of your 10 resolutions in front of you. There are a lot more ADA ramps that are getting replaced under this overarching project, but these are the ones that actually affect city-owned properties, and we'll go through those each. First one would be at the Parkway Fire Station. It's the western portion of that tax lot. There's $505 offered for 31 square feet of a permanent easement and 338 square feet of a temporary easement. $1,795 are offered for improved damages. In this case, it's landscaping and irrigation. And here's a little image of the impacted portion. I don't have my clicker on here, but I will get that. There. So the Parkway Fire Station is right back in here. Temporary easement is this portion, just so you can look at the future ones when they pop up. That's temporary. And then the permanent easement is this little sliver right here. They're also denoted by the 1 and the 2, which correlate to the note on the sheets 1 and 2 as you're looking in your packet. All right, the next property would be 821 Southeast M Street. Coincidentally, the same one we just talked about a heritage tree on. This project doesn't affect the drip line of it. So the northeast portion of the existing water treatment plant, they need 58 square feet of a permanent easement, and there's a little bit of compensation for landscaping and irrigation in that facility. And here's an image of that one and the existing property lines and ODOT right-of-way. The third property is at Kesterton Park. It's the northwest portion of Kesterton Park. This one, they actually needed a little bit more property, and as you can see, the cost offered, or the price offered, is a little higher. 228 square feet of a permanent easement and 178 square feet of a temporary easement, and a little bit of money for the grass lawn that will be damaged during construction. And there's the image of it. The next one is 704 Northwest 6th Street, which is across from City Hall to the north. And that one, 80 square feet of permanent easement needed, 252 square feet of a temporary easement, and the compensation for the gravel on that lot is not a whole lot. And there's an image of that one. The next property is 101 Northwest A Street. That's the actual City Hall property. There's 155 square feet of fee acquisition. I think that's the first time we saw that one pop up. So that's the actual conveyance of 155 square feet of property and 114 square feet of a temporary easement. And then the landscape improvements are higher in this case because there's some electrical there for a spotlight. There's some decorative boulders and landscaping. So total offer on that one is $7,100. Here's an image of that. 198 Southwest 6th Street would be the next one, and that would be the Welcome Center, downtown Welcome Center property. And they need 43 square feet of fee acquisition, 127 square feet of a temporary easement, and some concrete and landscape will get disturbed, which would be the offer package for the improvements and damages. Next one is Lewis and 6th. It's almost close to the frog lot over there, south of the river on 6th Street. And I'll show you a map of that here in just a second. But 11 square feet of a permanent easement and a rather large temporary easement. And it's a gravel parking lot, so there's no damages or cost to incur on that one. You can see that's a little bit larger one on the temporary easement. Next one would be the frog lot itself, which is at 160 Redwood Highway. And they need 52 square feet of a permanent easement, 155 square feet of a temporary easement. And there are some landscaping damages right there at the corner for $631. And here's an image of that one. I think there's 2 left, we're almost there. So the next one is the Beaver Lot, which is at 145 Southeast G Street. And it looks like I didn't adjust that top line on there. I should have, but this is the Beaver Lot. And it's 40 square feet of a fee acquisition and 66 square feet of a temporary easement. And there is some damage to some concrete at that location. Which should be the Beaver Lot here. We're going to talk about the Duck Lot next, which is right across the street, right over here. So this one would be Southeast G Street, doesn't have an actual address, but it's the Duck Lot, and they need 4 square feet of a fee acquisition and 76 square feet of a temporary easement. And there's no real damages at that location. Okay, so financial considerations. 9 of the 10 properties, all of them with the exception of the water plant property, were purchased with general fund dollars. So we have a resolution which is 22-7259. And that says that the revenues will be placed in capital project LB 6388, which is surplus property sales. And so the total value of what ODOT has offered for those 9 properties is $27,150. Although the caveat there will be that the city will need to use some of that money to redo the landscaping, irrigation, move spotlights, or whatever happened to be damaged or needs to be relocated. The $750 will go back to the water treatment plant property and WA000, whatever we don't need to use for restoration of the facilities there. Additionally, the city could choose to donate the properties to ODOT if they wanted to. So with that, I'd take any questions for you. I did want to note that you guys can ask me questions later as you guys are going through the resolutions one by one. Just call me up, but it'd be great if we could take care of them all right now.
And so for the purposes of convenience, we'll combine A through J for questioning all together. And Kathleen?
Oh, Wade, do you think that these are fair offers? Do you think
Absolutely.
they're reasonable
Yep.
offers?
And the reason why would be that my experience, we had to go through an actual condemnation court case hearing on the Allen Creek Road project, which followed the same process. And the appraisal, which is then vetted by another appraiser to make sure that it is okay, an independent one, it's airtight in the legal world.
Even if something came up and it would cost more, it wouldn't fall back on the city?
I would think that we could probably negotiate something at that point if something was found, but they do pretty good legwork on these on the front end.
Other questions from council? All right, seeing as there are no more questions from council, do I have any questions from the audience on this agenda item? For all the resolutions A through J.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing as I see no comments from the audience, we'll bring it back to discussion. Rick?
I would like to proceed with the motion. Motion to approve the authorization of the city to sell the designated properties in items 2A through J for ADA ramps to include landscaping and easements.
Okay, so this is for A through J, but we have to,
Yeah, we have to, because we're selling property, we need to have those resolutions individually read, unfortunately. So we'll have to take A, approve it, B, approve it. But we've asked questions and we had public comment associated with all of those. So we've taken care of that and lumped those together. But we do need to have the resolutions voted on separately.
All right, so would you like to make the motion for A, Rick?
Sure, maybe I'll take the first 5.
Okay, we can do it that way, can't we?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of easements on 800 East Park Street, item 2A, to ODOT for ADA ramps.
And I have a second. All right, roll call. We'll start with Joel and go down the line.
We got to vote on each one of them, huh? Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
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 And yes, and the motion passes. And next up is B. Rick?
I'll do another one. I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of easement at 821 Southeast M Street to ODOT for the purposes of an ADA ramp for landscaping and easements.
And I have a second. Roll call. We'll start with Councilor Schlogel and go down the line.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And up next is item C. Rick?
I'll do one more. I'd like to approve the sale of the easements on Kesterton Park and Northeast Evelyn Avenue, item 2C, to ODOT for the purpose of ADA ramps, landscaping, and easements.
Do I have a second? I have a second. We'll take roll call. Joel?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, the motion passes. And up next is D. On to the fourth. Inter?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the sale of easements on a portion of city-owned parcel at 704 Northwest 6th Street to ODOT.
And I have a second. Roll call. Councilor Schlogel?
Yes.
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 And yes, the motion passes. And up next is item number E. Seth?
Yeah, I'll make a motion authorizing the sale of a portion of property at 101 Northwest A Street to ODOT. That's item 2E.
And do I have a second? Roll call. Joel?
Yes.
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 And yes, and up next is G, and I will go ahead and make a motion, a resolution authorizing the sale of easements on a portion of the city-owned property, parcel, Lewis Avenue and 6th Street. Is there a second? Yes, there's a second, and roll call. I'll just go ahead and start the roll call. Yes?
Yes.
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 The motion passes. Up next is I, and do I have, oh, did we miss a roll call? Or it was just procedurally, maybe I shouldn't have made the motion. Do we want to?
We missed 2F.
2 of them, E and F. You did E.
Oh, okay. So do I have a motion from the floor? Rick?
I guess F is the only one missing, so I make a motion to authorize the sale of the portion of the property and temporary easement for city-owned property at 198 Southwest 6th Street within the ODOT and Jackson-Josephine County curb ramps for purpose of ADA ramps.
And I have a second from Councilor Schlogel, and we'll go ahead and take roll call there.
Yes.
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 And yes, and moving on, I believe, to H, is that correct? Oh, I, okay. Item I. Indra?
Yes, I'll make a motion authorizing the resolution of the sale of a portion of property and temporary easement on the city-owned parcel at 145 Southeast G Street, known as Beaver Lot, to ODOT.
And I have a second from Joel, and we'll start roll call. Joel?
Yes.
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 And yes, the motion passes, and I believe that was all of them.
We need H
Oh, J.
H.
All right.
and J.
H and J? Thank you. Okay, we're going to move along with H first. Seth?
I make a motion authorizing the sale of easements at 160 Redwood Highway to ODOT, item 2H.
And I have a second from Joel, and we'll begin roll call with Joel.
Yes.
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 And yes, and now we will move along to the last item in that set, which is J. Do I have a motion from the floor? I mean, from the council? Joel?
I make a motion authorizing the sale of property and a temporary easement on a portion of the city-owned parcel 7th and G Street, known as the Duck Lot.
And I have a second from Seth, and a roll call. Joel?
Yes.
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 And yes, and that I believe is all of them, and so all of those motions pass, and so we are going to move on to the next agenda item, which is a resolution authorizing funding of $100,000 for 1 year to Main Street Grants Pass.
Good evening, Council and members of the public. I'm Dana Pierce with the Economic Development Division, and tonight I'm going to present on the Main Street Grants Pass funding request. This resolution would authorize the payment of $100,000 for 1 year to assist with startup costs associated with the formation of the Downtown Association Main Street Grants Pass, including operational costs like hiring an executive director and support staff. It relates to council goals of economic growth by encouraging economic vitality, growth, and diversification, and ensuring downtown is a vibrant neighborhood and attractive destination. A little bit of background: back in January of 2021, City Council put in their strategic plan an action item to support the establishment of a downtown merchant association. Between April of 2022 and December of 2023, the Economic Development Division worked closely with Visit Grants Pass, the Civic Possible consultant firm, merchants, property owners, and downtown stakeholders to develop a roadmap for Downtown Grants Pass. In January of 2024, downtown stakeholders committed to progressing the work laid out in that roadmap and adopted a national Main Street model and began the steps to create a Main Street Grants Pass. In January of this year, City Council also adopted in their strategic plan a goal for economic growth, and those outcomes of 1.2A and 2.1C are specifically to support partnering with a Main Street program. In August of this year, following multiple workshop presentations from Main Street Grants Pass, City Council directed staff to identify potential city funding sources that could be used to fund the organization. In that initial request, it was for 3-year commitment, descending each year from $100,000 in the first year, then $90,000, and then $80,000 in the third year. The funds would primarily be used to hire a full-time executive director and part-time support staff. On September 15th, at a council workshop, the council voted 6-1 in favor of funding Main Street Grants Pass with $100,000 for 1 year. The stipulations were performance metrics that would be established and included in a funding agreement, and that continued funding for a second and third year would be contingent upon those achievements. Written reports demonstrating compliance with performance standards and other fiscal accountabilities will be prepared by Main Street Grants Pass and transmitted to council. Here we see the revenue sources for this project. The funds are available as noted in this below chart. You can see LB000 is the general lands and buildings projects. $40,000 would come from that. In the industrial and downtown loan fund, $40,000 would come from that funding source, and then the general fund for economic development, $20,000, for a total of $100,000. This action will require budget adjustments to the FY26 operating and capital budgets, and it is anticipated that funds will be distributed on a quarterly basis. The call to action this evening is on October 15th, and it is at council discretion. You can move to action or move to another business meeting or additional workshop. Alternatives would be to approve the funding request, modify the funding request, or deny it, and I do have a potential motion here.
All right, do I have questions? Rick?
Thanks, Dana. Can you go back to slide 6? Which was the financial, you had
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry, I went to, we don't have that many
Yes.
slides. Yes.
Is there any opportunity using tourist dollars to help on that?
We evaluated using tourism dollars, but we did not feel that this was a proper source for, the tourism dollars weren't a proper source for this funding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Joel?
The loan fund, then, does that money need to be repaid?
The loan fund currently has a balance that's just under $500,000, and the reason that we retain that is to help pay for other grants for small businesses. We stipulate that there would have to be a repayment on that. I think what we would probably, just after this payment, we would just wait to have those funds replenish themselves in interest over time.
Eric? And then Rob?
Can you get give us some clarification, please, on the tourism funding? What the criteria was to where it was decided not to use those?
Sure. The tourism funds, available funds are through tourism promotion. And because our downtown association represents very specifically our downtown, and the outreach for our tourism promotion has to be 50 plus miles or lead to overnight stays. And so the purpose of this organization is to support downtown merchants, to help with economic vitality, those sorts of things. Though tourism is something that can support that, the purpose of this organization is not to promote tourism 50 miles or beyond. It's to support locally those merchants and property owners.
Thank you.
So we've heard from, we've heard that some of the events that Main Street might want to take over or help with would be things like Art Along the Road or Back to the 50s. And those are well-known events that draw people from more than 50 miles away. So when you somehow decide that tourism dollars are not a proper use, I don't grasp your rationale, because we've been told many times that those are just two examples that come to the top of my head. Tourism dollars would absolutely be appropriate for that, and this group has said that they want to take over those events. Can you please explain why that?
This specific request is for staffing to hire an executive director, and promotion dollars have to be utilized specifically for promotion, to actually pay for marketing materials even. So that's the rationale.
I anticipate if say, for instance, the Main Street program was interested in, and there's been just general discussion, there's nothing in a contract with the city to take over those events, but if they were wanting to start to take some ownership of those events, there would likely be a discussion on whether or not they need additional funding for those events. Currently, right now, we do additional funding for those events. It would be great if they would take those on potentially in the future without any additional city assistance. But for our 3 events each year, we budget $50,000 for those 3 events.
Inter?
Yeah, so I've seen lately online visit grants pass promoting Main Street's stuff. What's the interaction between the two there?
Visit Grants Pass is our destination marketing organization, so their responsibility is to promote Grants Pass and its assets. So our downtown can be an asset, and promotional dollars can be utilized to promote our downtown. Our destination marketing organization, they use their funds to do that.
So if Visit Grants Pass has tourism dollars and they're promoting Main Street to over 50. Is there any interlap in there so they could use the tourism dollars?
I think the distinction really is just in what the funds are for. The funds in this case are for staffing, the funding request that we're looking at right now, versus having funds to promote Main Street.
Yeah, the DMO is there, and it promotes the downtown. It's not promoting technically Main Street Grants Pass, but the overall, one of our assets of Grants Pass is the downtown. I mean, we hear about it from local community members all throughout Southern Oregon to people who visit us on a regular basis. So it is an asset, just like our wineries, just like our river, just like that's just one of the assets. And so the DMO's role and responsibility is to try to make sure to promote those assets to individuals and to groups that are 50 miles or further away.
Other questions? Seeing as there are none, are there people from the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item? All right. And would you please state your name, before you begin?
Hi, my name is Claudia Tone-Kraus. I've lived here for about 2 years now, but come here my whole life. So with that being said, over the years, I've seen firsthand what a thriving Main Street can do to a community because I watched it happen in downtown Chandler, Arizona. When I was younger, you couldn't pay people to go down there. You were afraid to drop off your water bill. Like felt run down, unsafe, forgotten. But then the city business owners, nonprofits, and committed citizens came together with a shared vision to revitalize that Main Street, support small businesses, and create a place people can actually want to be. And it worked. What started as a small, struggling strip became a bustling district full of restaurants, shops, art events, and energy. It expanded beyond just the downtown. It became a true engine of economic growth. Property values rose, families felt safe, businesses flourished. It didn't just improve the economy, but it restored our community pride. This wasn't just a fluke. Across the U.S., Main Street programs are delivering real impact. In 2024, Main Street America designated programs generated $7.65 billion in local reinvestment, facilitated over 6,000 new businesses, created 33,000 new jobs, and rehabbed 10,000 historic buildings. For every dollar spent, approximately $21 was reinvested into downtown and our local communities. Over time, Main Street Movement has helped reinvest over $27 billion locally, 181,000 new businesses, and 815,000 new jobs. These numbers demonstrate that place-based revitalization works, especially when local energy, vision, and stewardship align. This is the power of a strong nonprofit Main Street organization. It is not just about pretty streetscapes, it's about activating opportunity, encouraging property owners to maximize unused spaces like second floors that sit empty, but could become housing, offices, studios, or revenue-producing spaces. It supports business owners with resources and collaboration. It ensures buildings are up to code, so one fire doesn't wipe out the entire block or decades of history.
Thank you. Other people who would like to speak on this agenda item?
Councilors, my name is Jason Schneider. I am the consultant who owns Civic Possible, who helped with the roadmap in putting this plan together for the organizations. This project is actually near and dear to my heart, more so than actually being the consultant who helped with the project. I've been a city councilor, I've been a downtown business owner, I've been a chamber director, a county economic development manager, and I've worked with over 30 main streets in rural communities across the nation. We engaged over 150 individuals in 2023 to put this map together that your Main Street has actually moved forward on and has actually done some really great work. We heard a lot of really interesting things from those 150 people. We heard about events and promotions being really important, but also convening a lot of the stakeholders. Because in many ways, downtown, not only events, but infrastructure and coordination, it's kind of like a heart in afibrillation. It needs a defibrillator to be able, somebody to actually make sure that everybody's working in lockstep together. And that's what a Main Street can really do. We heard convening is really important. We heard expanding economic opportunities is really important, promotion is really important, and increasing downtown safety is really important. This is something the main streets traditionally do all over the place. There's historical recognition that this is needed in our work. From 2020, the DMO Pros report that came out that ended up creating Visits Grants Pass really indicated that something like this was needed. Then in the Destination Ready 2022 and the Downtown Destination 23 plan, the city strategic plan have all made reference to a downtown association of some form really needing to exist to be able to amplify what your downtown does for your community. And it's in your own strategic plan as item number 3 as a part of that. Organizations like Main Streets really do provide a return on investment of $21 per
Thank you so
dollar
much.
invested.
Thank you.
10 other minutes.
It goes fast. Other people want to speak on this item?
Yes. Mike Pelfrey, city resident. I love the fact that all of these folks are very energetic about this program, and I would love to be energetic about this program too. However, I did live in Arizona. I lived in Cave Creek. I used to go to Chandler a lot, and I can tell you that what Chandler didn't have, and any of these cities that they've mentioned how thriving that they are, none of them had human cages in the middle of their city. We have 3 human cages in the middle of our city. And again, I am all for tourism and promotion. I want my city to succeed. But until you fix that blight, nothing's going to work. Thank you.
Are there other people from the audience who would like to say thank you? Come on up and state your name. And you have 2 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Hi. I'm McKenna Bartell, and I'm a local business owner. And we recently acquired our business just coming up on a year ago. So this is all new for me, although I've lived in Southern Oregon my whole life. And I was not super committed to speaking tonight, but I was at the last meeting we had in September. And after hearing what other people have to say and just the rest of the work that we've been doing over the last, few weeks, month, I just wanted to make it really clear that some of the concerns that you had shared last time we were here, I think were really valid, and that we may not be perfect as a board, as a organization yet, but we are all certainly on the same team right now. We've been trying really, really hard, and we're talking to each other, and we're really, really fighting for this to come together, and that downtown needs a downtown association. We've had, things in the past that have kind of operated similarly. We don't have something right now, and it's really important for our town, and we are all here to put our best foot forward and work together, keep lines of communication open, and just show up for each other and for ourselves and for the people that come to visit this town. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other members of the audience? If you could state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Jeffrey Voigt. I came out of the woodwork for this one, you guys. It's great to see a lot of people I recognize and some new faces as well. One of the things for many years, for some of you guys who might not know me, but for many, many years, I worked in the downtown to try and make a lot of good things happen. And the reason we were successful is because of a great partnership with the city. It's not easy to make things happen in our downtown. There's a lot of different distractions. The businesses are all trying to survive at the same time, but the city has invested many, many times in keeping our downtown alive. And the truth of the matter is most cities, most towns, they die from the inside out, and Grants Pass has found ways to not let that happen. This is another chance to continue that process. We need to have a solid program that does help make these things happen. The city, when I walked away, the city took up the mantle. They handled many of the events, they kept things going, and now we have an opportunity for a group of people to kind of, hey, take that on. And yes, we need your help to make that happen, but I think it's highly possible for us to get back into the game to get these events handled very, very well and start partnering again with the businesses and the people in the community who want to help support this stuff. And I can't thank the city itself and all the councilors over the years who have kept this going, who have continued to support the downtown and the things that are going on right now. And I'm very, very happy to see that we've gotten to the point that we have right here. I do want to recognize Jason's efforts. That guy is, you know, he's not from this town, and he sure does put a lot of love into his work, and he really was committed to helping us achieve a very positive result. And I also want to applaud all of the councilors who, you know, are already showing support for this. So I just want to take a moment and say, let's do this. Have a good day.
Thank you. Other members of the audience? Thank you.
I'll go.
Will you state
Trevor
your-
Yerish. I live here in Grants Pass. I also have a business downtown. And I just would like, for full transparency, I was on the starter board for Main Street. I'm not on the current board, but I was on the starter board. And I am very excited about the potential of what the Main Street program can bring from the outside in as far as resources go, as well as the holes that it's filling that it didn't necessarily initially intend to fill, which is downtown association, events, some other really great, exciting things. And I just wanted to say that I think, just my 2 cents, this is a great investment as a town to make in ourselves. This entity does need some seed capital to get going. The hope and goal is to not have such a dependence on the city in the future. And so this is an investment rather than an expense. We're investing in the future of a healthy downtown. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. Other members of the audience? State your name, please, and you have 2 minutes.
This is a little excessive. Hey, I'm Ashley Cruz, co-owner of Weekend Beer Company up on Washington near the top of town. As a business owner located outside of the downtown area, it might seem like Main Street does not directly affect me. But I believe what's good for one part of the community is good for all of us, and that includes a thriving downtown. To me, Grants Pass has always been about community. That's what makes this place special. In the 7 years of owning and operating a business here, I have, for the most part, encountered small business owners who care about this community, not just profit. We care about people, we care about growth, strengthening the foundation of our local economy, and supporting Main Street fits right into that. It's clear that a strong downtown attracts visitors, creates jobs, boosts the community, and when people come here and have a great experience downtown, they are more likely to explore the rest of the city, shop locally, and keep their dollars in our community. That benefits every business, whether you're downtown or not. Just because I am not directly downtown does not mean that I don't want my fellow small business owners to succeed. I believe in supporting any entrepreneur who's in business for the right reasons. Those who care about our town, our people, and our community, and our shared success. When one business grows, it lifts others around it. It's how strong communities work. Supporting Main Street means choosing progress. It's about investing in the community, the character, and the future of Grants Pass, the very things that make this community worth doing business in. Ultimately, opposing Main Street offers no benefit to me, my business, or anyone else's. Supporting Main Street, on the other hand, is an investment in my fellow business owners, the vitality, resilience, and the shared prosperity of our entire community. At the end of the day, I want to see Grants Pass shine, every corner of it. A vibrant downtown means supporting a local business, and that's something every business owner, no matter where you're located, should want to stand behind.
Thank you very much. All right, do we have other people who would like to speak? State your name and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Alina Folks, and I'm a new resident of Grants Pass. I'm a single mother and entrepreneur. I work out of the Hive here in downtown, and it's just so exciting to see everything that is growing there in terms of entrepreneurship and all of the initiatives coming together with Main Street. So just wanted to come up here and express my excitement for this program. I have a master's degree in international economics, and this is the way forward to build a vibrant, beautiful city that I want to live in and I want my son to grow up in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other members? State your name and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm LJ Norman. I'm actually new to Grants Pass. I moved here in June and I absolutely love it here. I think downtown is the heart of our community. It's where people come together, where local businesses thrive, visitors form first impressions, and residents feel connected to their city. Main Street Grants Pass exists to keep that heart healthy and growing. Our mission is to make downtown more walkable, welcoming, and vibrant. We want to create spaces where people want to stay, spend time, and support local shops. When people feel comfortable and inspired downtown, they tend to spend more, creating a ripple effect across our local economy. Programs like Main Street Grants Pass have proven results across Oregon and the nation, or just Main Street. Every $1 invested in Main Street revitalization returns $4 to $8 in local economic value. That means stronger small businesses, more jobs, and downtown that feels alive year-round. Funding allows us to keep that momentum going by improving lighting and signage, enhancing public safety, supporting events that drive foot traffic, and helping business owners maintain historic storefronts. These are not just cosmetic changes, they're strategic investments that keep Grants Pass competitive, livable, and proud. Downtown reflects who we are. With our continued funding support, Main Street can ensure that reflection shines brighter than ever for residents, visitors, and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other people from the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item? All right, state your name and you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Dr. Kim Freeze. I'm very excited to be here. Hello, councilors. I'm here to obviously voice my support for Main Street and my excitement at having a Main Street in Grants Pass. But I'm also here to ask for something else. I'm here to ask for vision. Right now, you're juggling 1,000 competing priorities, managing challenges. I imagine the demands are endless, and I totally get it. So I appreciate all that you do. But leadership isn't only about managing challenges. It's about being visionary, seeing what is possible for the future of Grants Pass, looking forward. That is what Main Street is built to do. It brings people together around a shared vision for a thriving downtown and community. Across the country, and I have seen this firsthand, Main Street programs deliver a proven return for every dollar invested. Communities see growth in small businesses, job creation, and local revenue. Again, it's really about the support, and I know a few of you here are business owners. So it is really key to have support and someone to talk to when you are in business. Times can be hard, and they're harder when you're alone. We all want the same thing, basically, a strong, vibrant, and resilient Grants Pass. The towns that are winning and thriving are not the same ones who say we can't afford to invest in Main Street. They are the ones who said we can't afford not to invest in Main Street. Main Street needs your partnership and funding support to strengthen our economic core, but also to keep the momentum going. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have other audience members? All right, thank you.
Good evening, Council. Terry Hopkins, city resident for a very long time, spent most of my life investing in this community. You know, a little bit of an echo of what I mentioned too at the workshop, and that's first recognizing you as a council. You know, your fiscally conservative approach and the way that you have scrutinized just about every spending package that's come before you is appreciated. Thank you. But with that being said, and I do appreciate public safety funding first and the work that the chief does over there. I think whether that's the repeater towers or increased staffing, admirable. I appreciate it. But I could not possibly be more excited to finally find something on the agenda that's relative to council goals of economic growth. You know, from being a private business owner, things break. You got to fix it. You guys are in that mode. But you can't lose sight of sales. We can't lose sight of the tax base that's continuing to fund these projects. I got the pleasure of interviewing you all, when, well, at least the newer ones, when you ran for office, and admired your perspective on growing the tax base and not increasing existing taxes on businesses. I think that Main Street is exactly that. It's an investment in economic growth, supporting our existing businesses, allowing new businesses to come in. And like I said when we were in the workshop, we're in Oregon. There's no question about the fact that this is one of the worst states in the nation to become a business owner. We have an opportunity here while we're still in Oregon to make Southern Oregon the best place in this state to do business and welcome those folks and show our investment. So thank you for your consideration on this topic tonight.
Thank you. All right, state your name, please, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, councilors. Nick Gates, third generation Grants Passionian. Anyway, just wanted to offer up a quick analogy. I know that there have been workshops that you guys have been a part of for considering Main Street, but I wanted to offer up a quick analogy just to help seed it in your minds of what Main Street is going to mean for me as a business owner here in Grants Pass. And it was brought up in previous comment here. You as a council have a place and have a structure to where you can make the decisions that you're making. If we were to ask you as individuals, as individuals and citizens to make the types of decisions that you do for city council from your home or from disparate parts of the city, and you didn't have a place to convene or a station to hold and a organization behind it, it'd be very difficult for you as city councilors to make decisions as a group. Main Street Grants Pass offers that same thing for business owners here and stakeholders in downtown Grants Pass. It offers a megaphone for us to be able to speak our mind as business owners and property owners. And it also provides a focal point so that we can all become on the same page to make better decisions for our businesses, for our community, and for downtown Grants Pass. So as far as like events and things like that, that is also a part of Main Street Grants Pass, and it can be a really great thing. But first and foremost, it's a place that we can all come together like-minded and help make better decisions for our city. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Do I have other audience members who would like to come up and state your name, and you have 2 minutes?
My name is Alan Masters. Thank you, council, for considering this. I am on the board of the Main Street deal, and I guess I wanted to just express what I felt living here for 45 years. I was always looking to where I was going to go retire. So Saturday I retired officially. I stopped doing what I was doing, and my heart is calling me to work here in Grants Pass and to invest here in Grants Pass. And I own a number of buildings, and I just bought another one. And I used to tell my friends, because there's a little town along the way here called Wonder, and they said, where do you live? When I was in LA or New York. Oh, I live in a little place, it's Wonder. You wonder where it is. And I wasn't really proud of Grants Pass, because when I first moved here, I got invited to a Ku Klux Klan meeting. And it was not a great place. And so I wasn't proud of it. And I was always looking, and I've been all over the world with my job. And I find that here I am, and I unfortunately had eyes, but I could not see, and I had ears, but I could not hear. And now I realize that I live in Whoville, and I'm Horton, and now I hear the calling of this little town. And the question is, do you guys hear what these people are saying? This is the love in their hearts speaking to you. You just got done saying that this art walk was the best one you've ever been to. We helped with that. I opened up the back of one of my buildings and made a nice place for the artists to come and hang out. Our heart's in this, and I think Grants Pass needs to add heart to it. And that's what we're doing. We're volunteering, and we're coming to you guys saying, hey, we're here. We want to help this town grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Other members of the audience would like to speak on this agenda item? is state your name and you have 2 minutes.
Lance Colburn, Josephine County resident for 17 years now. I just wondered maybe if we focus on some of the mission-y stuff here and the strategic thought processes in that. The thing that struck me was the economic growth. I grew up in a small town on the coast in Northern California, in the true Northern California, Eureka. If you drive through downtown Eureka, you find yourself in a where am I atville. It may not be as clumsy as some of the things that happen in our town, and I do realize we have struggles, but every town's going to have their struggles. But if we don't focus in the downtown, as a former business owner in this community, if we don't focus in the downtown and give that opportunity for people to have that growth, I don't think we have a viable future in the long run. And we just kind of pacify what's going on. So this investment that you would make as a resident of this community would be greatly appreciated. I know the Jeff Voigt and the Town Center Association did a lot of great things in the downtown area over the years, and having an organization like this to help promote that and push that business forward will help with some of these strategic plans and goals you have on the wall. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience members who would like to speak on this agenda item? And I don't believe I see any, and so we will bring it back to council for discussion. Joel.
So what I heard was a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of concern for economic development, a lot of concern for community, and they're all very valid. Money talks. I heard more speakers tonight than there are members of the organization right now. It's my understanding. And I go back to John Kennedy where he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. What you said was true. Everything you said was true. And yet the membership is really lagging. And then it's to start it now with government money, which I can understand, and hopefully that will change the tide. I agree with the economic development. What I question is, where's everybody putting their money? And that bothers me a little bit, including my money. Where do I put my money? Because if we have a great organization like that, it's going to help my business. I'm going to give them money. Because somebody said, this is a great investment. You'll get 4 times back what you put in. I heard all the right things. But what I don't see is the private support of people with the membership. And maybe it's just too young. I don't know. Maybe it's, and we do need to give it some startup funds. I agree with that. I'm not sure it needs to be the full amount because where is the money going? I mean, I sit up here and there's people coming before us all the time, and the number one thing they ask is, we want taxpayer dollars. That's the number one thing they ask us. And that isn't necessarily our role. It's part of our role, and economic development is part of our role, but public safety, fire, all those things that we need to fund. So as we go forth in this, and there'll be some money that's approved, at least I would hope so, for this project, but we need to see businesses step up as well. Because if everything you say is true, and I hope that it is, you're going to benefit more than anybody. And that's a good thing. So that's the only question I have. I don't want to go back on that. I didn't hear you, ma'am.
My first meeting, I wasn't supposed to speak. My apologies.
Okay. And I love you. I really do. I love you folks. You're my community. I just have to ask that question.
All right, thank you. Other discussion items? Rob?
Yeah, Joel, thank you. I think your sentiments, I think, were very well put. You know, it's obvious to me and has been for years that there is a need for an organization like this. We had an organization, something like this, although it was quite a bit different in the sense that it was 100% funded by merchant dues, and that made it independent, which made it really, really powerful, because it was independent of City Hall. And it was beholden to its membership, not City Hall dollars. I think we heard the last time we had a workshop on this, I believe I asked the question of Jason Snyder, who really would be an expert on main streets across America. We heard him tonight. Many successful main streets are completely dues driven. They don't get City Hall dollars. He's shaking his head no. Are they mostly?
Almost every main street across the country.
Oh, we can't, I'm sorry. Thank you,
Okay.
thank you. He asked, but we can't. It's all, he did.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I may have misunderstood what Jason told me last time, but to me, City Hall controlling the economic viability of a private sector merchant group is far from ideal. It's having a merchant group beholden to City Hall, again, far from ideal. And we don't have to, this is not my theory, this is not me pontificating. We saw this in 2015 when we had a merchant group that primary funding at that point was City Hall dollars. There wasn't, I mean, we had merchants downtown that never get involved in anything political, I mean ever. Merchants like the Kitchen Company or Hart Jeweler, when the sales tax issue came up, they came out of the woodwork against the sales tax issue. Every merchant downtown, when I say every, virtually every. And yet the director of the Town Center Association at that time, he was down to almost no dues paying members. He actually supported the sales tax. He was on the front page of the newspaper, sales tax. He was on the TV news, the sales tax. He basically was a shill for City Hall because that's where his funding was coming from. So the funding coming from City Hall is far from ideal. It makes it not independent, which is what independent business people should want to be. Even if they group together, they should certainly want to have a voice that is a counterbalance to a government that often is wanting to raise fees and taxes and so on and so forth. So this is not an ideal way to fund this thing as far as coming to for tax dollars, because you won't be independent. And we saw it in the past. There was no doubt. There was virtually nobody downtown as a merchant who was for the sales tax, and yet the head of the association came out and joined with City Hall and joined with the City Council at that time that was pushing a sales tax. It was a very unhealthy situation. You know, when the point that we've brought up, I guess that Joel brought up again tonight, is a lot of people say this is a great idea, but basically not really acting with their feet or with their wallets, so to speak. And, you know, I would say that a couple things on this, a couple more things. I have a hard time understanding how the director position for this is an actual 40-hour-a-week job, especially at this point, especially when it has not been delineated exactly what that person's going to be doing. You know, we haven't been shown any definite events that they're going to do, or et cetera, et cetera. They've talked about some, but I have a hard time seeing at the rate that most small business owners work, meaning how much work can most small business owners downtown create in 40 hours. It's a lot of production. I know certainly the first 20 years of my business downtown, the amount of work I was putting out in 40 hours was significant. And I would imagine that's true for every business owner in the building. I can't imagine that at the rate that the hardworking business owners in this building can produce, that this director position at that same rate, at that same intensity work, is an actual 40-hour-a-week job. I don't see it. So, you know, to hire a full-time director, to me, is essentially you know, caviar on a cat food budget. And it just doesn't make sense to me. That part of it just doesn't click at all. So, you know, Joel, you know, is saying, you know, who's going to put their money where their mouth is? You know, I'm a downtown business owner, and I would say that the old TCA, Town Center Association, in its peak had 170 independent dues-paying members, 170, all from downtown. They weren't banks, they weren't car dealers, they were all downtown merchants. I know that that number that this group has is nowhere near that. It's not a fraction of that. I would say that if this group is going to go on, whether we fund it tonight or to what degree we fund it, the group's going to go on. When this group gets, we'll say, 3 dozen members, actually I'll make it even easier, 2 dozen members, I'll join. But I'm not going to be the first 10 that's going to join because I don't believe, I haven't seen that amount of people digging into their pocket to do it. There's a lot of talk, but not a lot of people digging into their pocket to do it. So when you guys actually have some working members that are willing to pay, you know, their own money, I'll join. But again, I'm not going to be in the first 5 or 10 or 20. But because it isn't, and the reason I'll join is because there is a need. And, you know, there can be the vision is actually quite intriguing, but the question is, again, as Joel, you know, coming back to what Joel was saying, exactly where should the money come from? And I think the healthiest situation is for the money to come from out there, because then you guys become a counterbalance and you become an equal working partner with the city. You don't become a little brother or a little sister. You don't become subservient. You're not beholden to the city. Because if you're beholden to the city, you're beholden to a particular group of counselors or city staff people. You got to keep us happy or keep staff happy. The bottom line is, the first thing is you guys have to have a clear vision and backbone and exactly what you need, and basically be an equal member at the table. And that doesn't happen unless you guys have your own dues-paying members. So to what degree, you know, again, I see the vision, I see the need for this, whether or not it's appropriate for the city to come up with all the money and then actually treat you as respect you as independent business owners, it isn't going to happen. We saw it didn't happen in the past. So that's my concern, is where should the money come from? It's Joel's concern too, I guess, if I understood what he said correctly. So essentially, as a counselor, I'm still waiting to see people who are dipping into their own pocket to some degree. And that's what I have to say.
Eric?
I've heard a lot about all the positive comments about Main Street, and you know, I liked what Terry Hopkins had to say there with being the, I mean, we are living in the worst state to own a business, and it sickens me because all of the laws that are passed in Salem, we've been targeted, obviously, as a city here, and we're seeing the effects of that. We're seeing the negative effects of that. We're seeing the homelessness. We can go down the list. Everybody knows what that is. It's terrible, and our police are they're overworked. We're trying to get the whole situation figured out. I know that the businesses need, we need some kind of economic energy here, and it sounds like a lot of that can be done. The economy has gone down because of the aforementioned things that I mentioned. I just feel that we have to keep our campaign promises that some of us made, and that is to spur the economy, to make the economy grow. It's gone down. We've seen nothing but negative effects, and you know, I agree with some of what Rob was talking about, and it is taxpayer money, and we do expect, when you ask money from the taxpayer, you are beholden to make sure that that you show some kind of positive effect, and that's what I'm hoping is going to happen with that, to get some positive effect in terms of the economy. We need to grow the economy, but a lot of these things, like I said, the state has targeted, or the state has put in place various laws that I would encourage people to repeal. Form a movement, get these laws repealed, because it is hurting us as a state. It's intentional, and it is, I would even say that it's a form of Marxism, because it's terrible what we're going through. We're being attacked, and so I'm wanting the economy to turn around here in this city. So I'm leaning towards approving the funding. Thank you.
Indra?
Yeah, I'm just going to touch on a few points. I really appreciate all of you that came up and spoke. It was very heartfelt, actually, very well spoken, and true. I mean, we want our businesses to thrive, all of them. We want our economy to turn around, that's for sure. At the same time, the city is struggling with funds, and so you can see where these funds are coming from, different buckets. We have some big money items coming up that we have to vote on and decide on, and so it's our job to make those difficult decisions when it comes to spending the money. The events, a lot of the events we're already doing. The city, we just recognized 3 city staff are doing a great job with Art Along the Road. A lot of private organizations put together some of the other events. Does that mean we can't use help or new events? No, and I would really look forward to a group helping with ideas and coming up with new events, or volunteering to help with the events that are already on. So I think that would be a good thing. I struggle with it looks like there's a lot of support for Main Street. You all came out, and that's great, and it's good to see, and I hope that that continues and that you can expand that support. And I agree with Rob on that. I think a lot has to come from the private side of it, not just the city side. I would like to support, and I would like the city to support the efforts. And I struggle with the whole money going to the admin costs. And I too don't see, I mean, being well, like all of you, whether you're a business owner or not, you work a lot, 40 hours a week. I just don't see it as a full-time position to start. I would like to see what can be done and possibly help further down the road. So with that said, I would just like to go ahead and make a motion.
I'm not sure. If we could hold it to make sure there are no other comments. I actually had one myself.
I would like to make a motion that we fund Main Street with $50,000 for the first year or less. They could come back once we see what they show. So I would like to make a motion that we fund Main Street with half of their request of $50,000. Do I have to say where that comes from in here, since you have it written down?
From the funding sources identified, that would make it helpful, either that or we would need to come back at a later date for you to determine the funding sources.
So I would propose that we take $40,000 out of the General Lands and Buildings Project Fund and $10,000 out of the General Fund for Economic Development.
We have a motion and a second. We'll start with roll call with, a discussion. Oh, okay. So I'll just go ahead and take thank you. I'll just go ahead and take the discussion point. I'll begin with what I was going to say before the motion. I would not be for this particular motion because I'm amazed at the support that has come from our community. It's more what you all have come in here with is your heart for our city, and our city needs you. And I don't see that the funds were a cost. It is an investment. And I think I've said before that I know what Main Street does because I have had a lot of experience with it in Klamath Falls. It's a proven way to go forward for a city, and I can tell that the people who have come here are going to make sure that it is successful. The speakers for Main Street, you were amazing tonight. You give hope. I was going to say this during matters for the mayor at the end, but usually all of you are gone by then and you never hear it. So thank you for what you did say. It really gives me hope for our city. I love seeing that, no matter where you are in the city, that there are people who are loving our downtown like this. And I know that the plans are there for you to grow and that you are dedicated to this project and you won't make it fail. And so I wouldn't be for the motion. I would like to see it funded at the full $100,000, and that's what I would like to see. But and I was also thinking that it could be that it's so successful. I mean, you don't have to come back to the city the next year for the funding. You can just say, hey, we're going to take it and we're going to take this money and it's going to be a one-time deal. And I see the enthusiasm that you have for this. So no matter how the vote goes, I just wanted to thank the business owners who came to show your heart and to give a little joy. It was amazing. I loved listening to all your speeches to talk about how much you love this city. So thank you for that. And Joel.
So regardless of how the vote comes out, you can count on me for a membership. If you have an honorary member, I'll pay because it's worth it to me, and what you said was true. My wife will become a member and my company will become a member, even though we're not downtown. And so there's 3 more members there that increase your membership, and I'm sure there will be others. And we need to make this happen. So I'm a firm believer that you don't count. I mean, government gets in the way. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. I was telling Seth the other day when he was kind of discouraged about this topic, and I said, Seth, you do it anyway because it's worth doing. You don't do it because 8 people that represent the people here aren't going to give you taxpayer dollars or they reduce it. You do it anyway because it's a cause worth doing. And so I'm going to vote for the reduction of $50,000. I will buy 3 memberships if you let me. And we'll go from there. And I would encourage other people to put their money down on the table and let's make this happen. That's what a community does. Thank you.
Rick and then Rob.
I'm also in favor of the motion tonight, and I see this as seed money. I think it's a well-worthy organization that can go forward. I talked with the planning director on the East Coast that was the head of Main Street back there, and she had 80 members in the organization. And I think, as Joel's saying, he's willing to buy 3 memberships. I think you have the opportunity to show to us how it can be done. Thank you.
Kathleen.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
So,
thank you, Rob. Kathleen, then Rob.
I've
also felt a lot of enthusiasm here tonight and heart for our downtown and for our city, and I really appreciate that. It kind of baffles me that the TCA, I guess it was called, that was before my time, went sideways, and that's disappointing. So I hope all of you will learn from that to not go that way. But I'm glad that there has been another group of people rising up to support our downtown and want to band together and do what is needed and necessary to preserve our downtown and make something more and better of it. But I think I need to see more of what you intend to do with the money given and how you're going to rally to get the memberships. And so I too would probably be in favor of the 50,000.
So when I promised earlier to become a member if the organization reached a certain threshold, Joel, I didn't appreciate you adding 3 just like that because it made it easier. But I'm sorry, I'm going to revise that. I need to see a threshold of downtown dues paying, full dues paying downtown members, not guys like Joel that come in from the outside to boost the figures. So, but I think that, you know, to agree with Victoria, the energy was great, the enthusiasm was great, but again, going back to what Joel was saying earlier, let's see who's willing to dip into their wallet and to what degree, and to actually do the work on the ground. Not just get excited about doing the work on the ground, but actually doing the work on the ground. Right now, everyone's excited about doing the work on the ground, but it hasn't actually started to happen yet. So it hasn't happened. You guys have gathered together, you've had meetings, you know, one person got a big grant, and you know, somebody paid for Jason Snyder to kick it off to begin with, and everyone's excited about doing it, everyone's excited about getting the benefits of it, which we all would benefit from, everyone's just excited about working together, but I think as some of the other councilors have said, we need some more actual physical proof, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Indra?
I just wanted to add that it is really good to see there's a younger generation coming up that want to do things for our city and have businesses, and because we're all, except one, maybe pretty old up here. So it's really great to see that in your enthusiasm, and I'm looking forward to the city supporting you how we're able to. Thank you.
Any other councilors, discussion items? All right, we will start with the roll call. Joel?
So could you reread the motion, make sure?
Oh, yeah, the motion would be to fund Main Street at $50,000, and the funding is from, and that will have to be repeated for me.
I'll vote yes.
I'm going to recuse myself from this vote since I'm the chair of the board. I think the only thing I'll say is that I've recused myself this far. You know, I've dipped into my own pocket every single month to fund this for the last 2 years out of my own money. Yeah, it is what it is, but yeah, I'm recusing myself.
I vote yes.
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 And I will also, I don't want to vote yes, but I also don't want to vote against you because you have done so much and it's already passed. So I am voting no against the reduction because it's one of our strategic goals. It's what you guys elected me to do, and I want to support you at the full percent, but I will vote yes because I don't want to vote against you and it's already passed. So the motion passes. All right, the next item on our agenda is a resolution authorizing the city manager to, we'll wait for just a moment. Okay, so our next agenda item is a resolution authorizing the city manager to adjust the salary schedules for non-bargaining employees, and we have a presentation from our attorney, Stephanie Nuttall.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Back here after Monday's workshop with what was directed of staff. The resolution before you tonight would authorize the city manager to adjust the current management, supervisory, and confidential non-bargaining employee salary schedules by the CPIU of 3.02% from October of 2024, and that would be applied retroactively to July 1st of 2025. And this would support Council's goal of fiscal stability by working to ensure the financial health and long-term sustainability of the city. Brief background, as we all know, we've been working since February. The City Council has been reviewing information and considering courses of action regarding the structure of the compensation and classification for non-bargaining employees. The last cost of living adjustment received by this group of employees was July 1st of 2024. And usually, and according to city policy, the CPIU from October of the preceding year is used to determine inflation rates for cost of living adjustments. And as I noted before, the October 2024 rate was 3.02%. Providing a cost of living adjustment of 3.02% effective July 1st, while continuing to discuss options regarding compensation and classification structure, would be an intermediate step in the process of what Council's been working on. The cost implication of this would be $270,481. And as we've talked about before, the salary adjustments were included in the budget for fiscal year 25-26. So there's no need to or there's no budget impact. The money's already there. Council would just need to approve the shift of the grids. So the call to action date is today. Your alternatives tonight are you can approve the resolution authorizing the cost of living adjustment or not approve the resolution authorizing the cost of living adjustment. And with that, I will open it to questions.
Questions? Rick?
Thank you, Stephanie. The other day we were given what the salaries would be based on the new step. And the question has come is some of the adjustments that would have to be made are quite substantial. Is there an opportunity to phase that in over time?
For this particular resolution that's before you, no. This is basically to approve a 3% cost of living adjustment to the current salary grids. What I think you're talking about is the full package of adjustments for compensation and classification. And yes, we would be able to phase that in over time, over a 2 or 3 year period, if that's the route Council wants to go when we come back to talk about the full package.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Are there any members of the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing as though there are none, I will bring it back to Council for discussion. Rick?
I'm in favor of moving forward for non-bargaining, but I feel there's some details that really I think warrant discussion, and I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with moving forward today, but I don't want to delay it either. So I would like, if it is delayed, to take action within the next few weeks so we can move forward. Thank you.
Other counselors for discussion items? I am entertaining motions. Did I see Seth possibly?
Yeah, I mean, my original intent on Monday was, you know, obviously I didn't feel at that time there was an appetite for the full recommended package from the task force. Not that, you know, it is completely off the table. I just didn't see any movement happening, especially this week. I do obviously see the value in our staff. You know, obviously I own a business as well, so it's important to, you know, make sure, you know, you pay your people and you reward them beyond that. So you know, my motion was to at least give something while we not maybe go back to the drawing board, but reconsider what the task force had brought to us, and you know, maybe find alternatives. So I don't know. Does anyone else have any discussion to that?
Rob?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Seth. So to me, you know, this process, I guess, started, in October of 2023 is when council gave staff the direction to, you know, review the pay scale and all that. And then essentially this council, I guess, has been working on it since it was originally put on the consent calendar in March. So that's about 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is. But in the meantime, you know, the employees have had no COLA this year. So to me, I can't really see punishing the employees for the unbelievable inefficiency and the sloth-like speed that our government is working at. And I believe very little of that is due to any mistakes or sluggishness by council on this. I think council has acted basically about as quickly on this as we could, given all the delays that were involved with the task force and everything else. But I don't want to, again, I think that the employees should get a COLA this year. And so to me, I'm going to vote yes on this. And I understand what Rick is saying. We have a comprehensive problem here that we'd like to address. But frankly, I have no idea whether that's going to be 2 more weeks of focusing on it, or I don't know how long that's going to take. So in the meantime, I would say, you know, let's give the employees a COLA that they're going to end up getting at some point anyway. So I'm going to vote yes on this.
Seth?
Well, I'll just make the motion to approve the resolution authorizing the city manager to adjust the salary schedules for non-bargaining employees.
And I have a second from Joel. And so we will just start a roll call with Joel.
Yes.
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 This is for the cost of living allowance only. Yes.
And I will also vote yes, so that is unanimous and the motion passes. All right, next up on the agenda item is public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on items not related to a public hearing or council action items for the council. The intent is to provide information that is pertinent to the city's jurisdiction. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the council as one body, not to individuals. At the conclusion of the public comment, council will have the opportunity to respond. This meeting will proceed in an effective and courteous manner. Citizens and council members will be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free from slander, threats, or other personal attacks. Signs or placards, outbursts of applause, campaigning for public office, or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. If you have a question regarding any government-provided service or a current city policy, please contact the city manager's office. in an attempt to resolve the matter. And with that, we have 4 people up to speak tonight. And to begin with, we have Fitch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Fitch, returned resident since 1978. Title 18, subsection 241, 242 is deprivation of rights. You've had an individual in this community that's been assaulting the businesses and citizens for 10 years. The same individual and same group took all of you guys to court, federal court, I believe in 2025, and lost, and you didn't do anything. 30 calls for service, and I got shafted, not even responded. That's a deprivation of rights and a call for service that never went. We thought that this was gone and over with once he lost, the whole group lost. And what happened in the courthouse on August 25th is a desecration of the courthouse integrity. You can't get groups of people to assault other groups of people that you don't like. And what 2 of these members did here in this community is totally uncalled for and unprofessional and needs to be addressed. You've been notified with a notice of what was being on, that an emolument violation, that you can no longer pay your public officials to commit crimes. If you do so, that's a crime and you can be held accountable. I'm appalled that you guys would intentionally destroy evidence during an investigation, remove your employees to avoid a conviction, and then close your investigation in the middle of a stalking order. You might lose your investigation, but fraud doesn't have a statute of limitations. And I suggest you address these issues as soon as possible before we go to federal court. Have a great day, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right, up next we have Mike Pelfrey.
Excuse me. Mike Pelfrey, resident city, Grants Pass. So my earlier comments during the presentation, I didn't want to come off as saying or feeling that I don't support business in this city. I do. You guys know I've been coming here for years. I am so passionate about the city of Grants Pass. I want this city to be successful. I want it to be the kind of city that I looked at when I came here in 2015 and bought a house on the river next to a park. But as you guys know, a lot of things changed along the way, and my view and vision of this city has immensely deteriorated. And I didn't want that. I don't hate Grants Pass. What I hate is what Grants Pass has become. And you know, you can throw all the money at these organizations all day long, but until you fix the biggest blight that we have in this city, and you know what I'm talking about, it is the homeless industrial complex that is plaguing our city. And I travel a lot, and I hate it when people say, you know, it's everywhere. That is the biggest crock of you know what that I've ever heard. Yes, homelessness is everywhere, but it's not treated the way it's treated here, everywhere. I just got back from Idaho. I saw one homeless person holding one sign for the entire time that I was there. The whole time. You know when I saw my first tent? When I crossed the border from Idaho into Oregon. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. We have got to try as hard as we can to rid ourselves of the blight that is our downtown. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Up next we have Rika Brown.
Rika Brown,
Grants Pass. In 1986, we were told in late spring that we were going to be in drought that summer, so don't water your lawns or wash your cars. I bought that story, not realizing that Oregon declares drought if there might be insufficient snowpack to water the city because of a warm, wet winter. A foggy winter, which is dry after the sun burns through the fog, also triggers a drought forecast, as fog in the valleys does not contribute to snowpack. 1985 to 86 was a foggy winter, with fogs that lasted for weeks. We had 103 days without rain that summer. I was not surprised, as drought had been declared. I left Grants Pass in the fall of '86 and didn't know until the Daily Courier in 2018 published a list of years close to 100 days without rain that 1987 was also a drought year, with 97 days without rain. I eventually realized that a drought declaration before the fact is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Rivers depend on springs more than snowpack to keep them running. As we could see, every time we had a summer without rain in the last 20 years, springs depend on the water that is pushed out of the mantle of the earth. They don't depend on snowpack. Thank you.
Thank you. And up next, we have Jordan Mortensen.
Jordan Mortensen, Grants Pass. So I guess there was a little bit of a thing that was coming out of the commissioner's office. So there was a leak about information that didn't come from City Council, but it's a facility, the N Street building. So there was a lot of people that were kind of upset over that. And of course, you can never really, with the homeless situation, nobody's ever going to be happy, and it doesn't matter where it's at. So, you know, and I was sort of looking at this facility over there, and it's fairly close to the county jail. You know, there's an 8-foot chain link fence with razor wire around it, which I'm assuming if there was a new, whoever moved into that, they would have that maybe privacy screen. Nobody would be looking at it. And this is a 24/7 monitored facility with security. So I guess the homeless would enter as a low barrier, but then there's rules, so there's a curfew. I don't know too much about it, but I know that there's a buzz online because the commissioners are under an electron microscope constantly. So, everybody that sees those meetings, they get on social media, and I saw this post, and it wasn't like a leak from council or anybody. It was just, the commissioners were having a discussion about it. So, it looks good. I mean, it's not like, we have it here downtown. We have a lot of people that are roaming around. So having a facility out that way, which is, 3,151 feet from the county jail. So, but there's also a school nearby, so, there's probably going to be some complaints about that coming in. But again, we've got HB 3115. We have to deal with that. SB 48, we have to deal with that. So it's a good facility. I think it's a good fit. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that concludes our public comment for tonight. And so next up is our consent agenda, and I believe we have 2 starred items. And I can't remember which. The D and C and D. So I believe we wanted to just have a little bit more information on, we'll start with C.
So I did not prepare a presentation for you, but I am prepared to answer any questions. What I can let you know is I believe it was in August, you approved Resolution 257588, which was to authorize us to apply for and if awarded, accept the $10 million Safe Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund. The item that is before you today is the actual acceptance of those funds. I was able to speak before the Infrastructure Finance Authority in September. They were very impressed with our project, very impressed with where we were at, very impressed with the work that the council had done to structure the rate, especially with the treatment plant replacement fee making up such a large component of the future debt. And they very happily awarded us that $10 million loan, and $3 million of that $10 million will be waived as grant. So it is a $7 million loan at 1% interest rate with a $3 million grant component, and this is just officially accepting those dollars.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And so we also have a star on item D, and we may have some questions on D. And we have a presentation. Thank you. I didn't notice.
Yes, I do have a quick presentation here. Again, this is Dana Pierce with Economic Development Division, and this topic is a technical assistance grant from the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development for an economic opportunity analysis. This resolution would authorize the city manager to submit a technical assistance grant application, and upon award, enter into agreement with the Department of Land Conservation and Development to hire a consultant to conduct an economic opportunity analysis. And it relates to the council goals of economic growth, encouraging economic vitality, growth, and diversification, and ensuring that Grants Pass has a sufficient supply of serviced employment lands in strategic locations. The Oregon DLCD offers grants to empower local governments to improve planning. The grants can pay to update comprehensive plans, modernize land use ordinances, or augment other planning activities. Promoting economic development is actually the highest priority for the DLCD's program's technical assistance grants, and that also includes completing EOAs. What an economic opportunity analysis is, it's like an economic forecast for the area, and it equips the city with information to help prepare for growth over time. These analyses help cities and counties understand which industries and services will thrive in their area and how they can best use the land within their urban growth boundaries. The current economic element of our comprehensive community development plan here in Grants Pass was originally adopted in 2008 with a minor addendum in 2014. The city's previous EOA and economic development data is outdated. Using a wide variety of local, regional, and state economic and employment data, the study will examine and inventory various employment lands throughout the UGB. The process will include a public involvement plan, assessment of employment growth and site needs, establishing a 20-year projection and land demand analysis, building employment land inventory, and an economic development policies and actions. The revenue source for this request is from the DLCD Technical Assistance Grant, and that's for $68,000. We also have funding set aside in the FY26 economic development budget of $12,000 to create a 15% match up to that $12,000. Oh, I guess that's it.
Kathleen?
I don't pretend to understand everything about this, but it seems to me that we have pretty restricted areas of building and growth and all of that, and it seems like the planning department understands that really well. And I have trouble justifying or understanding why we need bringing in a consultant to do that. That we could, do that in-house. Do we have the ability to do that in-house?
We really don't. These analyses require a lot of time and analytics and data. And that's exactly why the DLCD provides these grants, is to help support planning. Our comprehensive plan is really outdated, and to really understand where we are with our economy, our lands that are available for employment, we really need to be able to do a more in-depth analysis of that.
Joel?
Thank you for the presentation. Good job applying for the grant. The end product, I'm not clear on the end product. So if I understood you correctly, and you correct me, because I don't think I did, that the end product would be an identification of lands that are available under the current code, that have infrastructure, that don't have infrastructure, that companies that want to relocate here, or existing companies that are here that want to move to an even better location can use. Is that an end product? And then the other end product I heard you mention, and I'm not quite sure how that fits in, is they subsidize rewriting of the code so that it's more business friendly. Those are my words, not yours. And they look at the code to see if there's some issues. So that's the other end product?
As far as the economic development policies and actions, yes, it would be related to what we learn out of the economic development or economic opportunity analysis. So what that data brings back, if we need to make updates to our code or our policies, they would help with that and help make those recommendations, work with the staff to ensure that we bring that back to council for review and approval. This will help us create our next 20-year plan for the economic element of the comprehensive community development plan. So that element, we regularly do revisions over time to stay on top of that 20-year period to make sure that we have enough land for our expansion over time. And so that's a piece of this too. That's where the understanding the employment growth and site needs, the buildable inventory is going to be really valuable for us to understand what that's going to look like in 20 years.
That'll include a map, I assume?
I think so, yeah.
People like looking at maps. Okay, thank you.
All right. Oh, yes, of course.
So 20 years, that's a really long projection. Wonder if our state would make different laws in 20 years and totally just discredit anything that such an analysis would bring to us. I mean, is that considered? Because it seems like a lot of things get stuck because the state has put laws on our cities that throw everything out that maybe has been established in the past. Does that happen?
Well, I would say the current plan is because of ORID law. I mean, we need to have a comprehensive community development plan, and we're required to have this economic element piece to it. So it's part of our requirements as a city and as a planning department to have these and to update them as we can. I would say that because ours is so outdated, we are a prime candidate for this funding. And because their number one priority is economic development and economic opportunity analyses, we are very likely to get this funding because we're primed for that.
So this funding is coming from a grant. It's okay.
Yes, it's a grant request. And they do ask for some match, and so we budgeted for a potential match of 15% up to $12,000 to support doing this economic opportunities analysis.
Rick?
Dana, I don't know if you can answer this question, but if you go back 20 years ago, I think in the planning department they had a long-term planner that would have done this, and now because we are not have such a planner on board and they're hard to find, this is the method we use. Would that be a correct
Yes,
viewpoint?
Counselor, that is correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, I Am entertaining motions to accept the consent agenda. Joel?
I'll make a motion to accept, is that the right word, to accept? I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
And I have a second, and so we'll start roll call with Councilor Schlogel.
Yes.
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 Yes?
And yes? All right, next on our agenda, we have matters for mayor and council. Any comments from council? All right, and we will, I don't want to miss anyone. All right, moving on to matters from, or comments from staff.
We're good this evening.
I
Thank you.
think we're good this evening, and I'm waiting for a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
And I have a second. All those who would like to adjourn, thumbs up. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.